Oh boy, I hope you like pizza because today we're making a pizza bake. Just to give a little backstory, so I remember one time I was at this like social function and we were told there was going to be pizza. But what happened was there was spizza, which that ain't pizza. Turns out they made pizza spaghetti. Which at the time I was just, I was pissed because I wanted pizza. But now in the future, I'm like, that's actually a pretty good idea. It's just a really weird way to get somebody to come to your house. But that's not the point I'm trying to make here. I'm just trying to say that I want to make that. So let's make like a pizza pasta bake thing real quick. And to start, we're going to need some chicken noodles. And it's real simple. I did this for my mac and cheese video. I've done it for other mac and cheese and other like quote unquote pasta videos. All you're going to need is 1 pound of ground chicken. If you want to use some fresh chicken and like blend it with the egg that I'm about to add to it, feel free to do that. But for today's purposes, I'm feeling lazy, so we're doing ground chicken into the bowl. Follow that up with 2 eggs and finish that up with a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And you could probably assume what I'm gonna do right now is just mash this together. So I'm not gonna make you watch that. So just kind of get that mashed together. It should be almost the exact same. We want to get this into a Ziploc bag now because we do want to start piping this to make our little like gnocchi shaped noodles. Now we've got this in our bag. Get it closed up, get some of the air out, and we'll go ahead and get one of these corners cut off. Just a little bitty corner cut off. That way we can make our little noodles. And usually I would do this in boiling water, but I don't feel like doing all that today. So what I'm going to do is pipe mine onto a silicone lined baking mat. And it's super easy. Just make sure you get your Paris Hilton cheese knife and, just start gently squeezing the bag. You see how it's coming out like that? And just cut little balls. And just do that to make a nice little time-lapse video. And if the Paris Hilton cheese knife isn't working out, use a spoon. If you have some left over, you can do another batch if you want. I'm probably just going to stop there. That's probably good enough. But, I got a little overzealous with how I spaced this. I probably could have got a little tighter, but whatever. It is what it is. So once you have some of your pasta piped out like this, we want to throw this into the oven at 375 degrees for about 10 minutes until they're, they're pretty much done. They should be a little squishy, and yeah, that's about it. We're going to let these cool off, and while we're doing that, we can go ahead and make the sauce. And this is my marinafredo sauce, but it's kind of like a little bit of a modified version. And the other one I use heavy cream. This time, I think I'm going to go with some half and half and some cream cheese to make it a little bit thicker. But that doesn't matter yet. The first thing you want to do is get your pan set over medium heat, and you want to start adding in some spices. So the first thing you're going to need is a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, 1½ teaspoons of Italian seasoning, 1 teaspoon of granulated garlic, 1 teaspoon of granulated onion, and about 1.5 tablespoons of tomato paste. This is the biggest modification that I've made to this, but I think it's going to make it just a little bit better. It'll add a little bit of acidity to it. It'll make it more savory. It's got a little bit of natural MSG from that tomato in there. And obviously, you don't have to use that if you don't want to. It's still a great sauce without the tomato added to it. This is actually the first time I've tried it with the tomato paste. You just want to cook this down till everything gets a little bit fragrant. You do not want this to burn at all. So go ahead and have your half and half ready to go. And then maybe, 20 to 30 seconds after you've cooked this down a little bit and it's starting to stick to the bottom of the pan, you can go ahead and add in 2 cups of half and half. And on second thought, I think a whisk might be a better tool for this job. And I want to get the half and half to a simmer before we add the cream cheese. I'm going to go with about 4 ounces of cream cheese. If you want to add more to thicken it up even more, that's up to you. It should be more than enough for me, though. This is probably actually way more than 4 ounces, but it should be fine. Just get that incorporated, and as soon as it is completely broken down and it looks a bit like this, nice and thick, you should be able to see your whisk cut through. We go and turn the heat off, and now you want to get yourself a half cup of freshly grated Parmesan cheese. This is like very loose, so this is probably about 1.5 ounces by weight, not necessarily, a bunch of cheese, but it just looks like it because it's so light. All you want to do is slowly incorporate this into the sauce. While the heat's off, don't forget to turn the heat off. Just another reminder because you don't want this to break. I've not salted this yet because I want to make sure that I don't over salt it. So before we continue on, let's go ahead and give this a taste and see what we need. I'm going to go ahead and add in a full teaspoon in total, and that is perfect. Go ahead and set this to the side because we can finally start assembling. So first thing I'm going to do is get all of my noodles in here. Probably should have made more, but whatever, here we are. To this, I'm going to go ahead and add about 4 ounces of shredded mozzarella. And I was going to keep my pepperoni slices whole, but after thinking about it, I think quartered would probably be better within the dish itself. So either quarter some pepperonis or use some really small ones, whatever you want to do. That's probably about 2 ounces worth of pepperoni by weight, or 30 pepperonis total. Next up, let's take some of our sauce and pour it right over. I'm gonna start with half because I probably don't need all of it for this amount of noodles. And just get that folded in. Once that's in there, I'm gonna add a little bit more mozzarella. Hit it with some more pepperonis. Little lighter sprinkling of cheese on top. And that is assembled. If you want to do this the day before, feel free. It'd probably make it much easier for you. So I'm going to throw mine in the oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for about 10 to 15 minutes or until it's nice and golden brown on top and it's looking a bit like this. This is insanely hot. Don't even think about even taking a pepperoni off and trying to eat it. You know, this isn't even like, it's not a joke. Okay? So don't you laugh. Oh. I'll be back in 10 minutes. All right, and after a long, agonizing 10 minutes, we can go ahead and scoop us up some of this. Gosh, cheesy boy. And we really don't need a stalling alarm. Let's go ahead and give this a taste. Get a little bit of everything. A couple of little noodles, pepperoni, some of that top cheese. God, it's so cheesy. That's what I'm talking about. You know what? Lucky Charms are not magically delicious. This is magically delicious. I don't need no damn marshmallows to make me happy. You know, I think you could make this for anyone. If you're trying to keep like low carb in your family and you want something that tastes really good, I think you could probably make this, and I can almost guarantee they'll love it. Yeah, this is delicious. It's creamy. It's got a little tang. It's got all those flavors from pizza that you know and love. The pepperoni's nice in it, which, you know, including the pepperoni, which adds to that know and love factor. And it's really just customizable. Just the sauce and the cheese and the chicken noodles alone really just kind of give you an open canvas to do with whatever you want. So try this out. Hope you enjoy it. And I will see you in the next one. Well, I'm glad you made it to the end. And before I let you go, just want you to know that this video is sponsored by my company, Carnivore Companion. We sell seasoning with no BS whatsoever in it. No dyes, no chemicals, no anti-caking agents, nothing. It's just salt and spices. If you want to give us a try, go to CarnivoreCompanion.com. Use the code CarnivorousChef at checkout to save 15% off your order. Make sure to sign up for the email list because we do have a lot going on this year and we want to keep you updated. I don't really watch a whole lot of normal TV because I'm watching YouTube for the most part. Normal TV, I mean like channels that include commercials that you can't really avoid. But recently I watched some normal TV and I kept getting this commercial over and over again.
The critics are raving. Little Caesar's Crazy Puffs are the summer blockbuster.
And after seeing it like 20 times, I had the craving for it. And since I can't have that in particular, I'm just going to make it myself and it will be carnivore. So I've got 5 ingredients here to make this. It's going to be super fast and it should be quite simple. The first thing we need to do is get a mixing bowl and add in 1.5 ounces of ground pork rinds. Follow that up with 2 eggs. And then just kind of fork it around. It'll look kind of like this, a little bit runnier than I want it to. But what I'm going to do is let it sit for roughly 5 minutes until it kind of hydrates through the pork rind. So 5 minutes. And it looks like this now. It's not such a soupy runny mess, which is what I was looking for. Next up, let's grab a muffin tin, and what we're gonna do is take this batter and start adding a little bit in there, and then run your hand under some cold water just to get it a little moistened so the batter doesn't stick to it. And all we're gonna do is push this down and work its way up the sides a little bit. So I still want it to be muffin-like, and I want the crust to almost be like a deep dish pizza. Just make sure there aren't any holes in the bottom of it. So let's go ahead, get the rest of our muffin holes filled. Next up, what we're gonna do is take pepperoni and mozzarella and layer them kind of like a lasagna, because that's what it looked like they did from the pictures I saw in the commercial and online. We'll lay a few pepperonis down, and then I will top each one with a little low moisture, fresh shredded mozzarella. And then we will repeat that like 1 to 2 more times. I think that's enough for me. I did 2 layers total. I'm gonna finish this up with a little Italian seasoning just to get that pizza-y kind of flavor. You can use whatever you want for this. If you just want to use dried oregano, that'd work fine. We'll kind of brush off this little bit of excess cheese so it's not crazy stuck to everything. I've got my oven preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm gonna throw this in there for 17 minutes or until they're nice and golden brown on top. So these are obviously insanely hot. I'm gonna let them cool down 5 minutes. They are ready to be tasted. As you can see, it did a really good job coming out of that pan. They look awesome. And I do want to cut one in half to kind of get a cross section, see what they look like. And there it is right there. Very cheesy and pepperoni looking. Got that seasoning on top. Let's give them a taste. Now, I know a lot of people don't like pork rinds or the flavor of pork rinds that you get with stuff like this. But what's good about this is that the pepperoni is so strong in flavor. And if you top it with a little bit of Italian seasoning, it almost just completely gets rid of that pork rind flavor. So if that's going to stop you from eating these, I would honestly just suggest trying this out to see what you think. Honestly, this is a great way to have pizza. You know, if you don't want to eat pizza and feel like a big old dumpster fire, why don't you just make these instead? It's got a good chew to it. It's got a good flavor, obviously. And that's what we're looking for. Now, it's about to be college football season, and, you know, I live in Alabama. We have one of the biggest college football teams in the United States. Roll Tide. I don't really watch much football, but I do like to go to football parties because there's, you know, snacks and goodies there that are always, it's a fun time. Roll Tide. So today I'm going to help myself and help you by showing you how to make this pizza chicken dip. Roll Tide. Now, the idea stemmed from buffalo chicken dip. But I was like, you know what? We could do better than that. I can have my pizza and my dip at the same time. So without any further delay, let's go ahead and get started by cooking our hot Italian sausage. This isn't going to be the bulk of our dip, but it is going to be a topping. I think I'm going to mix it in with the chicken as well. This is definitely going to be a choose your own adventure pizza game, and it's super simple to cook this. I've just got a pan set over medium heat. All I got to do is take it into small pieces and throw it into the pan and start browning it up. I'm not going to use a whole lot of this because I don't want it to overtake the entire dip. I'm going to go with roughly 4 ounces of it in total. It really shouldn't take too long to do this part. Just get it to where it's at least 90% cooked because we will be throwing this in the oven again later. So if you're worried about it being undercooked, just know it will get cooked again. Oh, it's spicy, boy. Oh, God. Hit me in the throat. It's okay. Keep your eye on the prize. It's going to taste so good. All right, you'll know it's done whenever you're not pepper spraying yourself nearly as bad. I'm gonna go ahead and take this off the heat, throw it into a bowl, and get started on the chicken, which I'll be using some ground chicken. This is 1 pound of it. And if you want, you can honestly just go with like a rotisserie chicken, shred it up into smaller bite-sized pieces, and use that for like a more texturally different than what this is. All we gotta do is get this cooked completely and just continue to break it up. You want it to be a pretty nice crumble by the time you're done with this. Okay, I've been cooking this for roughly 3 minutes, just constantly chopping it, making sure it's getting broken up the way I want it to. I want these nice crumbles like this. It's about 90% cooked so far. I'm gonna go ahead and start seasoning it. It will need a half teaspoon of onion powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, and finally about 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Also gonna go ahead and add in about half of my Italian sausage. And I'm simply just gonna mix all that in. All right, let's give this a quick taste for seasoning. My needs just another little pinch of salt. I think that'll do it. Okay, now that is done cooking, we need to make this the actual dip part, which we're gonna do by adding a block of cream cheese to it. This is 8 ounces worth. It's also the Philadelphia brand. I really like it just because it's, you know, simple ingredients. So while all this is still hot, you'll wanna get this mixed in, or if it's cold, you can use softened cream cheese to get it all mixed in. No, this is gonna be a bit easier. All right, now that we've got it all mixed in, remember that you were gonna add some pepperonis to this as well. And feel free to, you know, cut them up if you want to, or just throw them in whole. I don't think it's really that big of a deal. Go ahead and get your serving dish of choice. You probably need a pretty small one. I'm gonna use this pie pan to get some more surface area and everything. So you can go ahead and just dump in your cheese and meat. Get that spread out just a little bit. And then I'm gonna take some low moisture mozzarella and just shred it right over the top. We're gonna do this in a couple of layers, so you don't have to go too heavy on this first layer. Just get a general coating over everything. Once that's there, let's go ahead and place down some pepperonis just to give it a nice little pizza look. And then I'm gonna add the rest of my Italian sausage. I'm just gonna put that right over. And then we can finish up with another layer of mozzarella cheese. Now, don't forget, you can make this your own pizza dip. You don't have to use these exact ingredients. Like if you wanted to use a tomato sauce in place of the cream cheese, feel free to do that. All right, I'm gonna add just a couple more random pepperonis just to signify like, hey, this is a pizza dip because, you know, it's kind of covered up by the cheese. All right, this is what it's looking like so far. I'm going to get this into an oven that's set to 400 degrees for about 23 to 25 minutes or until everything is nice and bubbly golden brown. And it should be looking a bit like this. God, that looks good. It is quite hot. So I'm going to let this cool off for about 5 minutes or so. And we'll be right back, you know, once it's cool. God, I hope the squirrels don't show up again. They just keep coming in my house. They can take over whenever I'm letting food cool off. All right, it's been about 5 minutes. Finally time to taste this thing. So it's kind of like a cross between like a, you know, a creamy cheese dip and like a fundito, which is what I like. I really like a fundito. It's just not always practical because that first layer is kind of hard to break sometimes. That's going to be our bite, and I'm ready to taste it. Pizza-y, cream-y, cheese-y, good-y, chicken-y. This just has so many ways it could go. You could do like whatever toppings you like and you'll get a pizza craving hit, but it's just in a nice, convenient dip. And I think people who are not carnivore or keto or whatever would actually love this. This is great. It's cheesy. It's just real delicious. So whether you're taking this to a college football party or you just need to kill your pizza craving, I think this is a good way to do it. High protein and great flavor. What more do you need? Yeah, just laying it all out there. So before we even get started with this, if you remember school pizza, comment down below saying, I remember, because we need to honor this time-tested and nostalgic-making dish that if you grew up in America, you probably had multiple times a month. That's cool. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, it was really just a rectangular slice of pizza, kind of. It looked like it came from a sheet pan. They just cut it with the thinnest layer of sauce, sprinkling of what I can only assume is barely real cheese, pepperoni cubes, and the least crispy crust I've ever had in my life. But it's very nostalgic. I want it. You wanted it, so let's make it. And we need to get started with our crust. Get yourself a blender or a food processor, and we will start with 1 ounce of ground pork rinds, 8 ounces of cooked chicken. You can use uncooked chicken if you really want to, but the reason why we're cooking this is so we can remove some of the moisture. If you go to cook this with raw chicken, what's going to happen is that a lot of the moisture inside of it will probably leak out. You'll be left with a very wet dough, which is something I'm just not looking to have. You'll also need 4 ounces of mozzarella cheese. This is low moisture whole milk mozzarella. Again, you don't want a bunch of moisture in this because you want it to firm up nicely, and you, like I said, who wants a sopping wet anything? I take that back. I can think of a couple things, but pizza dough ain't one of them. If you're doing this, you can use the shredded cheese. I just had a block, so I just broke it up, threw it in there. You're also going to need 1 egg. Bloop. You're also going to need a ½ teaspoon of floof powder. Then we're going to finish that up with about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. This is about to get pretty loud, so I'll just let you sit outside for a few minutes while I get this done. All right, how was it out there? I'm sure it was pretty nice. It's been a nice day today. So what you should be left with is rather crumbly, but what's going to happen is all the cheese inside there is going to melt together to make a cohesive crust for us. And up next, we need to get ourselves a 1/4 sheet pan. If you don't know what that means, for reference, this is a 1/4, this is a ½ This is like a standard baking sheet. This is half of that. I should be able to put that in there. Let's still have half the room left. However, if you want to double the recipe, feel free to use a ½ sheet pan. I'm just going with this because I'm making these just for me. Line that with some parchment paper, and we will dump out all of this dough onto it. And you can either use gloves for this part, or you can get another piece of parchment, or you could just take your dirty ass hands and press it out. We're going to make it as even as possible, and we want it to go from edge to edge on the entire pan. All right, your crust should look something like this, you know, just evenly pressed out. And now that that's done, I'm gonna throw this in the fridge. You can leave it on the counter if you want. I'm filming, so things take a lot longer to do in real time. But I'm gonna put this in the fridge for a few minutes while we make the sauce. So I've got my pan set over medium heat. I'm gonna go ahead and add a ½ cup of heavy cream, as well as 2 ounces by weight of Philadelphia's finest cream cheese you can find. And all we're gonna do is let this reduce to combine together, because we want it to be slightly thickened. And honestly, you can stop with just the cream cheese and the heavy cream and add some salt to it if that is a sauce that is more appropriate for you. However, I'm going to add some extra things into here to make it closer to a pizza sauce. All right, now that the cream cheese has broken down, what I'm going to do is reduce the heat to low. And to this, I'm going to add 1/4 teaspoon of salt, about 1/8 teaspoon of black pepper, 1/4 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, a ½ teaspoon of granulated garlic, a ½ teaspoon of onion powder, and finally the very optional ingredient, which is going to be 1½ tablespoons of tomato powder. Realistically, just the Italian seasoning and the garlic would make this pretty close to a pizza sauce, in my opinion, but the addition of the tomato powder will add some acidity, as well as just kind of round off the whole thing. We're going to turn the heat off. This is getting quite thick, quite fast. It's almost looking like a vodka sauce, which is nice. It kind of smells like it too. I'll give this a taste. For seasoning, oh god, that's good. I know a lot of people have issues with things like tomatoes. Don't feel like you have to add it. All right, the sauce is done and we're just about there. All we have to do now is cut up our pepperoni. So I have here a log of pepperoni. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. You can use whatever kind of pepperoni you want to. You don't even have to use pepperoni. Italian sausage would be good on here. Some seared ground beef would be good on there too. But I was able to find this log of pepperoni, so I'm going to use it. All I'm going to do is split it. I'm going to make some planks, because I want cubes. That's what I distinctly remember about this pizza. Make some sticks and dice it up. All right, now that you have your nice little cubes of little meaty pepperoni, guys, let's go ahead and pull out our crust. What we're gonna do is take it, slop it on there, and then just spread it out. Like I said, this was a very thin sauce from what I remember. And I hate to say that I was right. Trust me, I really do. I don't feel like I'm right most of the time. But I'm going to say that was the perfect amount of sauce for what I was doing. It's almost like I've been professionally cooking for the past 11 years. Next up, we're going to take some more of our mozzarella and we're just going to shred it over the top. I've gotten to the point where I no longer like to have the bag of shredded mozzarella. Before, I didn't really think anything of it, and then, you know, I knew there was stuff like cellulose in it, but just trying to be more conscious of what I put into my body, because I did spend a long time last year not feeling so great, and I think a part of it was not caring. So I probably used about 3 ounces of that mozzarella. I'm going to take my pepperonis and just scatter them about. This is what it's looking like so far, and just the sauce alone makes me excited to finally put this thing into my mouth. So what I'm going to do is excitedly throw this into an oven at 350 degrees for just about 20 minutes. Now, this is a little more well done than I like it, but, you know, the lunch lady doesn't give a shit about what you want. They just want to make sure that you get fed. So this is what it is. I probably would have gone about 3 minutes less just to be a little less brown, but, you know, everybody's got their preferences. You know, this side's a little less brown than this side, so yeah. You know, like always, I'm going to let this cool down for roughly 5 minutes just so, you know, I don't, like, melt the teeth out of the inside of my skull. All right, my 5 agonizing minutes are up, and I've got to say, I am very excited about this thing. Take a good look at the undercarriage. Not too bad, not my style, but it is a carnivore pizza, so I can't knock it points for that. You can hold it. It's definitely got a big flop to it, which is fine. Like I said, I don't really remember this being a crispy pizza in school. Let's go ahead and give it a taste, see how we did. The sauce plus the pepperoni, those two things mixing together brings my nostalgic score to a 4. The only thing holding back that extra point to make it a 5 nostalgic is obviously going to be the crust. The crust you get from school lunch pizza was more dense, had a little bit of a chew to it, but this just has like a straight up give to it. And as for the taste, it's definitely getting a 5. The sauce alone reminds me a lot of the school lunch pizza sauce. Just a little bit of Italian seasoning, a little bit of that tomato powder. It really brought through the dried spice flavored sauce they had in school. You've probably made a carnivore pizza before, and it's a nice respite from not having pizza for a while. And if you want to feed just 2 people, like, this is a good amount to feed 2 people. I'd be full after 2 slices of this. Or you can double the recipe, use a half sheet tray, make a lot of it. I feel like you could freeze this if you really wanted to. What I would do is cool it off in the fridge, wrap it tightly in plastic, freeze it, throw it in the oven until it's warm through, and you got lunch for the day. Yeah. Alright, to make the crust, I've done this plenty of times before. If you want to see my other pizza recipes, this one is the one I use the most. It is Carnivore Pizza number 3, as it's titled. And if you wanna make this one, this is my favorite one. It's got the best texture out of all of them. And if not, I don't know, try 1 or 2. So I kind of suggest you try this one, but if you don't want to, don't feel like you have to. For this one, you're gonna need 8 ounces of cooked chicken. I've heard people using canned chicken. I still haven't tried it myself, but I know that this works because I'm just gonna blend it anyways. If you want to use canned chicken, feel free to. Just know that your canned chicken probably has a bunch of stuff in it that you don't want to eat. 1 ounce pork rinds of your choice. These are just salt and pepper. 1 egg, and then 4 ounces of shredded mozzarella. I highly suggest that you use low moisture mozzarella. Any high moisture mozzarella in any of this is going to make a very soggy crust. I suggest just buying a little brick, grating it yourself, and that's what I'm gonna do right now. Like, you can use the pre-shredded stuff if you want to. Just know it has tree bark in it, aka cellulose. But you know, if you're lazy and you don't really care, go for it. Whatever works for you. Just pretend like this is a blender, because I will be doing a magic trick here in a few minutes to show that it's blended. But if you want to do this into a blender instead of just a bowl. If you want to do this into a bowl, I don't really care. I don't control your life. Crack an egg, pork rinds, chicken, and blend. It's more of a dough than anything. It actually feels like a dough a little bit. It actually sticks to my fingers. So I'm just going to cover this up and let it set out while I get this ricotta cheese topping made. So let's get to that. And for that, we're going to need some ricotta cheese, Parmesan, salt, pepper. I mean, it's going to be pretty simple. It's not going to be a difficult pizza to make as it is. So this is about 1 3/4 cups worth of ricotta cheese. I don't need that much. Probably take about half of that. Whatever half of 1 3/4 cups is. I'll take some fresh Parmesan. Probably take about 1 ounce of it total and just grate it right into this. Get a few twists of salt, maybe 1/4 teaspoon, and about the same amount of black pepper. After doing some research, a lot of people like to add mozzarella to this as well. I think I'm just going to keep it like this, and I'll just put mozzarella on top. I don't want to overload it with too much of that. So I'm just going to give this a simple little mix. And it should look a little bit like this once you're done mixing it up. It pretty much just looks like more ricotta cheese. So, since this is ready, let's go ahead and get our crust on. Now, since this crust is a little bit sticky, I suggest getting a little dish of water so you can kind of rub your hands on it to kind of smooth it out a little bit easier. Otherwise, it may just get annoying and stick to your fingers, kind of like that. You can do the same thing with olive oil if you want to, or butter, or tallow, lard, you know, just any type of fat. And today I'm going to go for a square. Alright, knowing how you do this is going to be a little bit annoying, especially if you let it sit out like I did. I actually let it sit out for probably a good half hour before doing this. Really, I like doing this as soon as I'm done with the dough. So, what we're going to do now is throw this into the oven at 350 degrees, I don't know, like 12 to 15 minutes. Or until it looks a little something like this. I'm not going to lie, this was probably 9 to 10 minutes, but it's also high convection, so you're probably good for 11 to 12 minutes. We're not going for a full cook here. We're just kind of get it dried out a little bit before we put some of these wet toppings on. And yeah, so now we can finally make this pizza. All you're gonna do is take dollops of your ricotta, toss them on there, and spread them out. So now as you've got your ricotta in there, we're gonna take some of my low moisture mozzarella and grate that right over the top. Follow it up with a little more Parmesan. And we'll throw this into an oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 10 minutes. And it's done. All you're really looking for is to get some color on the cheese. Next up, I'm gonna take this off the pan and I will put some of roasted garlic butter. And to make the optional garlic butter, you're gonna take about 3 tablespoons of softened butter, about 4 cloves of garlic that you've thrown into an oven at 350 degrees for about 10 minutes to soften. You're gonna squish those right in there. And about a teaspoon of chopped parsley. If you have a glove and you wanna use that, feel free to use that, but for now, just squish it all together. So while it's still hot, just get some and little dollops everywhere. Crack over a little more black pepper, while it's just a little bit more Parmesan. And that is the pizza bianco. Let's give this a nice little taste real quick, see how it is. You know, honestly, I thought I was gonna miss the sauce with this, but this ricotta cheese actually did a whole lot in place of the sauce. So, if that was a concern of yours too, I wouldn't really worry about it. This is really good. If you do try it out, love to see it on Instagram. Send me a DM, I'll repost it. Full written recipe down in the description as always. And I'll see y'all next time. Hey there, my meaty friends. This is Reed, aka CarnivorousChef. It's morning time around here. I start my days off with a half liter of water, just to get the pipes moving. I'm pretty low energy as it is, so I tend to make a full pot of coffee in my pour-over coffee pot. But you're here to learn how to make a carnivore breakfast pizza. For that, you're going to need some breakfast sausage. I prefer products that say country sausage because they typically have less ingredients in them. I cooked mine the night before to eat with a few eggs. I saved the rest in the fridge, so you can use leftovers if you want. For the crust, add in 1 ounce of pork rinds, 4 ounces of shredded low moisture mozzarella cheese. Try to go for the block, but if you're feeling lazy, a little tree bark isn't going to kill you. Crack in 1 egg, and finally about 8 ounces of your cooked breakfast sausage. Blend this on low for about 2 minutes or until you get a dough with this kind of consistency. No breakfast is complete without bacon. Grab 4 slices of some thick cut bacon and cut it into strips or dice it like I'm doing here. Feel free to use leftover bacon here as well if you happen to have it. It's mostly going to be a topping. Place your diced bacon into a pan set over medium-high heat and cook until well brown and a little bit crispy. Set aside and reserve that bacon grease. I'm going to use the grease in my cast iron pan to let the dough fry. Place this sausagey pizza dough into your pan and spread evenly. Make sure you get to the edges. Once you've gotten those clean edges, place this onto a burner over medium heat for about 7 or 8 minutes. In the meantime, let's get our sauce done. Set up a bain-marie and add about 3 ounces of cream cheese, a 1/4 cup of half and half, a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, a 1/4 teaspoon of granulated garlic, a half teaspoon of salt, and a pinch of dried thyme. All you want to do is give this the hottest whisking of your life until everything combines. This will be a thick boy sauce when it's done. Set aside the bain-marie while we check on our pizza crust. This is looking fine, but we need to get a bit of the grease out. Do that by using a paper towel. Place this into an oven set to 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 to 12 minutes or until the top of the crust is set. Now for the final topping. Poaching eggs is really simple. Place the saute pan over medium-high heat and bring about 1 inch of water to a boil. You'll want about 3 tablespoons of vinegar added to the pan to help keep the egg whites from going insane. Crack 3 eggs into a bowl. This is to ensure that the yolks won't break in the water. Use a spoon and make a little water tornado. Would that be a water spout? You can place this in 1 egg at a time if you'd like, but I like to put them all at the same time. Once they're in, I like to gently scrape the bottom just in case some of the egg whites stick. To speed up the process, use your spoon to base water onto the tops of the eggs. After 2 minutes, give these eggs a gentle flip and allow to cook for another 1 to 2 minutes. Remove from the water and let drain on a paper towel. Don't forget to season with a pinch of salt. Okay, our crust is out of the oven and we can finally assemble. Spread on an even layer of your sauce. You may have a bit more than needed, but that's okay. You can save it for later purposes. Sprinkle over a third of your bacon bits. Follow it up with about 2 ounces of shredded mozzarella cheese, and finish up with the rest of your bacon. Place this back into the oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 13 to 16 minutes or until your cheese is golden brown. That is beautiful. Carefully scrape this to get it out of the pan. The final step is to lay down your poached eggs. Stab these with a sharp knife to let that yolk get all over the place. This pizza serves about 3 people or 1 average-sized person for their daily calories. Now that's a nice slice. For whatever reason, I think this is the crispiest carnivore pizza I've ever made. I don't know if the bacon grease had anything to do with it, but I also am not going to question it and probably use it every single time I make a pizza. See y'all next time. Hey there, my meaty friends. This is Reed, aka CarnivorousChef. It's been a while since I've made a pizza, and I think it was about time to break that streak. I didn't just want to make a pizza to make another crust. I really wanted a new experience. So, to change it up, I went with a deep dish pizza. I know that I'll probably upset some people by my use of Alfredo sauce, but compromises, you know? Anyways, feel free to pick whatever toppings you want, but for this recipe, you'll need mild Italian sausages, thin sliced pepperonis, sliced low moisture mozzarella, some blurry heavy cream, and some eggs. And today's GoPro footage is brought to you by Springform Pan. To start this recipe, let's take 3 ounces of pork rinds and 4 eggs and give them a good forking in a mixing bowl. Please pick out any random shells you may or may not see. Once your batter is good and forked, let it rest to the side to hydrate. In the meantime, let's get our Alfredo sauce whipped up. Place a pan over medium-high heat and add in 1 cup of heavy cream. Once this reaches a light boil, turn off the heat and add in a 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan cheese, as well as a 1/2 cup of Monterey Jack. Whisk this until fully incorporated. Season with salt and pepper to taste, and I added about a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Next up, I need to brown my sausage. I think 2 should be plenty for the size of my springform pan. Get the sausage out of the casing by any cringeworthy means possible. There's no way to do this without feeling pain. Place the meat into a pan set over medium heat and brown for a few minutes. I broke mine up and got it most of the way brown, but don't worry too much because it will continue to cook in the oven. This next part is going to be up to you and how much you want your crust to look perfect. Honestly, it'll look pretty good no matter what, but the biggest goal here is to get your batter up the side of the pan and as high as possible. Butt up your pan to prevent sticking as well. I par baked mine for 5 minutes, but looking back at it, I think you could just avoid that part. This part is also up to you. Traditionally, deep dish pizzas start with sauce and end with cheese, but today I'm gonna kind of just layer everything. Have fun with this part. If you're upset, please leave all complaints in the comment section. Once you've got it the way you like it, wrap it in foil. Bring it over to an oven set to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and cook for 30 minutes. Then remove the foil and cook in the same oven for 5 minutes to get the top cheese browned. Once removed, let it rest for at least 30 minutes. This will be a soupy mess otherwise. After its short rest, run a knife around the outside to remove anything stuck to the pan. Holy shit, look at how glorious this is. I honestly didn't want to cut into this, but all good things have to be destroyed. I think that's a quote. I am happy that I finally quit staring at it and just cut a slice because it turned out even better than I was expecting. This first exciting bite is for my Patreon community. Check out the link in the description if you're interested in supporting the channel. Now, I knew this was good because I usually finish things off screen, but this one needed to be devoured right then. You can feel the need to devour it too if you like this video and subscribe to the channel. Hey, what are you doing? Well, I was just about to order a pizza. Well, I was about to make a pizza. You want some of that? You're not going to make another carnivore pizza, are you? Yeah. I don't know, it's just... Hang on, just give me a minute. Better hurry. Hey, what's going on? This is Reed, aka CarnivorousChef. Today's video is the third iteration of a carnivore pizza, and there's not a whole lot to say about this, so let's just get right into it. I've pretty much come to the point in my life where I don't miss tomato sauce and would much rather have a cream sauce on my pizza. So today we're going to be using an Alfredo sauce. Let's make this first so we can get it out of the way. Add 1 cup of heavy cream to a pan set over medium-low heat. Let this heat up slowly because it will boil over if it's too high. We want to reduce this by half, and then slowly stir in about 1/4 cup of shredded Parmesan. Then we want to salt and pepper this to taste. After adding everything, I like to keep it over medium heat for just a few more minutes to continue to thicken it, but be careful because it can get a little grainy from the fat and the protein separating in the cheese, so just be careful. Now set this to the side while we make our crust, and this will also allow it to thicken even more, so it's a win-win for us. This is a chicken crust with a few extra things to create some texture. The biggest issues I find with meat crusts is the amount of moisture, so let's take care of that by browning our chicken first and draining it in some paper towels. I cooked a whole pound, but for this recipe, you'll only need 8 ounces of ground chicken by weight, 1 ounce of pork rinds, 4 ounces of mozzarella cheese, and 1 egg. Process all of this on low for about 3 minutes, being sure to scrape down everything about halfway through. A dough ball should form, and it's a rather sticky dough, and it's reminiscent of actual dough, which is always a nice surprise when working with animal products. Now let's place our dough into a non-stick pan that preferably has an oven-safe handle, and then begin to spread it out with a spatula. As soon as I got the basic shape, I pressed it out with my hands to flatten it out, and I would suggest moistening your hands with a little water to keep it from sticking too much. Now let's turn the heat to medium-low. I did the time lapse here to show you the evolution of a fake pizza dough. Look at how majestic and bubbly it is. Cook it for about 4 minutes. Okay, let's slide this onto a plate. Then grab another plate the same size or bigger and place it on top, and then flip it over. Slide this crispy crust back into the pan to finish cooking on the other side. It just took a minute or two to finish. For this pizza, I wanted simple but as much flavor as possible, so I put down a couple of spoonfuls of Alfredo sauce, and then I topped that with a little mozzarella all over, and I also made sure to hit the outside of the crust to help add texture while it's baking. Next, I added some bunched up slices of prosciutto, and of course this is pizza, so feel free to add whatever toppings you like. This is just my choice for the day. I placed this into an oven set to 450 degrees Fahrenheit for about 10 minutes to brown the cheese and the crust and to crisp up the sweet fancy ham. After pulling it out of the oven, I added a few twists of black pepper and even more parm. Cut it up however you want and then serve it to a friend who is probably about to make a gastric mistake.
See, it's good, right?
Hey, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for me. It really does help me out a ton, and it keeps me going and makes me want to make more videos for you. If you watched to this point, please leave a comment down below and let me know what your favorite pizza toppings are. Stay beefy, my friends. So you're in a rush and you want a pizza fast? Here's what I've got for you. Grab a bowl, some ground chicken, and add half a pound of that chicken to that bowl. Just make sure it's exactly 8 ounces. Then crack in 1 egg. Shred in about 1.5 ounces of low moisture mozzarella. If you happen to have some pre-shredded cheese, that's fine too. I won't judge your cellulose consumption. We all get lazy from time to time. Add in a half teaspoon of salt, and finally about a 1/4 teaspoon of granulated garlic, or Grand Gar for short. Now, take your time-tested mixing spoon and mix everything until it's a nice and cohesive chicken mixture. I developed this recipe to be able to make a personal pan pizza, and this is about a 10-inch nonstick cake tin. I've had bad experiences with pans like this, so I cautiously buttered mine down. If you've only had positive experiences with these, you can skip the butter. Once it's buttered up, add your chicken mixture to the pan and start to spread it out. We're simply looking for it to be even. This will shrink up in the oven due to the water content, so just make sure you get it all the way out to the edge. Once it's evenly spread, place it into your oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 8 to 10 minutes or until it's looking a bit like this. Now, you can pick whatever toppings you want, but I'm going to go with what I have in the fridge. Instead of sauce, I'm opting for some cream cheese. It will melt up into a sauce-like consistency. And since I still have plenty of mozzarella, I'm going to use that. And for my final topping, I'm going to throw down some pepperoni. I shredded a little extra mozz over the top so I could get some brownage. Place this into your oven again, but under the broiler this time to let it darken. Keep an eye on it because the broiler has been known to ruin a lot of food. Mine cooked for about 5 minutes like this, and it's just beautiful. Let's get this out onto a plate. Nice. Pull out that pizza cutter that's been blocking up your drawer from opening and slice her up. Now, this is not meant to be a crispy crust replacement because it's just not, but it is a very high protein meal that tastes like pizza. It's scratching a niche that also helps you reach your protein goals. Enjoy. Oh yeah. I like that. Hey there, my matey friends. This is Reed, aka CarnivorousChef. Today I'm going to show you how to make something that's really actually a very simple idea. It's really just a burger with pizza toppings. And I know probably a lot of you have tried this, but if you haven't tried this, I encourage you to try it out. It really knocks out my craving for pizza really quickly. You can keep it as simple as you want with just salt and beef and cheese and pepperoni, but I like to add a couple more things to mine to make it a little more pleasurable to eat. I definitely have other pizza videos that you can check out, which are great, but this one's really fast. The other ones take a little effort and a little time, and I know not everyone wants to do that. So if you're looking for something that's really quick and curbs your craving, why don't you try this one out? And before we get started, I'm going to ask you to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share this video with your friends. If you have people in the community that are looking for new interesting recipes, I put them out weekly, sometimes twice a week. But anyways, let's get started. To start, let's get this burger seasoned up a bit. Take yourself 1 pound of ground beef and slap that bad boy right into a bowl. Next up, grab some sort of controversial green substance like Italian seasoning and add in about a half teaspoon. Follow it up with some gray area granulated garlic. You'll need about a half teaspoon of that as well. Then finish it up with 1 teaspoon of the essential mineral salt. Finally, you'll take your grubby yet clean hands and give that a thorough mixing for about 1 minute and 19 seconds. Set that to the side and pull out a block of low moisture mozzarella because I know you have that ready to go. For this amount of meat, you'll need about 3 to 4 ounces of it shredded. Use whatever kind of grater you want. I'm opting for the box variety. Once that's shredded, you can also set that aside. Now's the time where we take real action. Get yourself a 10 to 12 inch pan and place your meat into it. Mash this in there until it's all the way to the edge of the pan and slightly up the sides.
You're just mashing it now.
It will shrink once it starts to cook. Speaking of shrinking, I mean cooking, you can now place your meaty pan over a flame set to medium-high. Let this cook for 3 to 5 minutes per side. You can certainly cook this as rare or well done as you want, but I recommend you shoot for medium well to well done. This will help you hold it up better, you know, like a slice of pizza. After you've gotten the sponsor flipped, you can start to top it with whatever you want. I went super simple with the cheese and some nice spicy little pepperoni. Feel free to get as buck wild as you want with this part. Hell, even put crumbled up ground beef just to confuse your taste buds. No matter what you put, place this into an oven that's been set to broil for 3 to 4 minutes or until the cheese has browned nicely. A beautiful pan protein pizza, aka the brozza. Cut it into slices to get the full effect of the brozza. However, if you want to feel like a savage, fold it in half and start eating it like a big old pizza taco burger. Yeah, this is exactly what I wanted, a flavorful burger with gooey cheese and spicy pepperoni. I think you've been looking at me too long. I'll see you next time.